was a morbid sense of curiosity that made us stop. We were on our way to the city on the first day of the festival when we noticed the crowd watching as 3 men hung nailed to Roman crosses. We were actually supposed to meet up with Simon of Cyrene and his 2 boys, but they were nowhere to be found. It was gruesome to see. It was a gruesome way to die, hanging by the hands and feet with the added humiliation of being stripped of clothing and slowly dying as breathing became increasingly impossible. For all of its horror, we were drawn to take a closer look at the suffering inflicted on these men. I could hear their mourning and screaming as I got closer. I could feel their pain. These 3 men were visible from several yards away. But I had this urge, this disturbing determination to get closer. As I fought my way through the crowd, I thought to myself, why should anyone have to die like this, tortured, beaten, humiliated, and left hanging on a cross in front of everyone to witness? Why should anyone have to die like this? I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to be watching, yet I was unable to turn away. It was clear as I looked at the crowd that there was something unusual about the man in the center. From a distance, it looked like all 3 men were in a line. But as I got closer, I noticed that the man in the center was further forward than the other 2 men were behind him. Some of the people were hurling insults at him. 3 women and a young man were weeping at the foot of this man's cross, and a man who looked like Simon of Cyrene was covering the eyes of 2 young boys as they pushed through the crowd to get away. And one of the other 2 men on the other crosses had his head tilted toward the man in the center and was saying something, but I couldn't hear him between all the insults and weeping. It was evident that this man had been flogged. This man in the center had been flogged, the bloody stripes giving witness to the cruelty of his captors. To be honest, he didn't even look like a man. I asked what this man had done wrong, and someone in the crowd answered, "That's Jesus, the man from Galilee, who many believed would lead a revolt to expel the Romans." This person continued, but his way of dealing with the Romans was to tell his followers to show them kindness. He seemed more intent on revolting against the Sanhedrin than anything else. It was they who convinced Pilate that he was a threat to Roman rule. Then this person concluded by saying, "So here we are with a pacifist preacher crucified as a threat to the emperor. This man was a threat to the Roman emperor?" I thought to myself. The people chose to have this man crucified, but yet Pilate saw this man as being innocent. The crowd around Jesus was restless. Some of the merchants seemed to gloat that just a few days ago this man had cast them out of the temple courts and now is getting his just reward. I like to say that as we watched this scene unfold, our hearts were filled with compassion, but it was quite the opposite. The anger and venom of the others was like an infection rapidly spreading to each of us as we stood there. My friend Levi was the first to join in the act, saying he got what he had coming to him. Then my friend Jacob looked up at Jesus and shouted, "Who do you think you are anyway? Some kind of Messiah you've turned out to be." This man hadn't done anything to me. Yet as others were shouting, I found myself filled with anger. I walked up to him and said, "Some Jew you are. You make me sick. Tell us to love our enemies. This is what happens to people who love their enemies. Listen, you're a nobody." I don't know why I said these things. He hadn't done anything to me. I discovered that day that I had the capacity to hate an innocent man and a sick desire to be part of making him hurt, to fit in with the crowd. I realized that I would do anything to fit in with others. I was placing myself on the cross, and it didn't bother me. It was after I shouted at him that he looked at me and then looked up to heaven and cried the words of the psalmist, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When I heard him cry these words out, I was filled with shame. My God, what have we done? My God, what have I done?